I'm Professor Leanne Simons. Hopefully you've seen this face before, and I want to go over the syllabus with you. This will be information that I want you to look at for the first day of class, because rather than take time to go over the syllabus, I want to take that time to talk to you. So without further ado, let me share my screen. And all this information is on Blackboard under syllabus. This is the daily syllabus. I want to tell you first off that the most important word on this page, aside from the date of your first exam, is tentative. Okay, things can happen, as we all know, and if there's a topic that is extremely interesting and we want to go over it, and we want to cover it, then that's what we'll do. What won't be changed is the date of the first exam. Let me just go ahead here, which will be October 20th, and we'll talk more about exams later. But this daily syllabus tells you what's going on, what topic we should be covering, an overview of our discussion, and what assignments and readings I want you to have. There we go. So we're having a course overview now, and we will cover some information. But before I do anything else, I just want to say hi and introduce myself and get you to introduce yourselves. Then we will cover infection and immunity. This is a topic that usually waits till after the first exam, but global events have made it incumbent upon me to move it up sooner. So you can see we have dates for assignments that I will review and dates for discussions. So these are all the different topics. When things are due, the exam. This is what I call my longer syllabus, the name of the class, my contact information. So this is my office. Welcome to Human Health and Disease from my humble home. And this is how you get in touch with me, or via email. And our class meets Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 6:20. My office hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 3, or by Zoom. Something I'm thinking about doing is maybe having once a week or twice a month an Ask Me Anything, where you can drop in, like a coffee hour kind of thing, and any questions that you might have, something that may have come across your news feed, or about health, or my favorite questions are the ones that start with, "They say," and "Is it true?" So bring those questions. I'm thinking about it. Of course, these are questions you can always ask during class. You don't have to wait for a special time, especially since class participation, or what I'm now calling engagement, is going to be about 25% of your grade. This is a summary of our class. There are no prerequisites, but it is a science course, and it will be completely online. We'll be using Blackboard and Zoom. There is no textbook for this class, but what I do have are modules on Blackboard, which we'll look at shortly, that are divided into read, watch, and listen. And in each of these sections, and you will be able to, when you go back and look at the daily syllabus, see what I'm asking you to do on those days, and you'll see it in the folders that we'll look at shortly on Blackboard. I'm going to wait till class to go over pet peeves, because I should have an idea of what your pet peeves are. Some of the deliverables include these homework assignments. So each topic that we cover, or I shouldn't say each, most of the topics that we cover at the end is a homework assignment. You have 4 of these assignments to do throughout the semester. Each of them is worth 5% of your final course grade. And I'll show you these. 2 of them everybody has to do, the family tree and the eating disorder collage, right? So you get to pick which other topics you want to do the assignments for. And the ones that you get to choose are due 1 week after we finish the topic, but the ones that everybody's required to do will be covered during class. And I will give you specific dates for that. We will also have current events. I'll show you where I want you to sign up. You should sign up for 2 current events. And this is where you will bring something that came across your news feed. I do not expect you to go into the science literature, although some people go to Science Daily and bring things in, but something that you may have heard about a cure for COVID, or a supplement that makes you lose 5 pounds last week, or a detox, a word that I hate. And what you'll do is just bring it up, talk about it. Maybe you'll send it to me. Maybe I'll ask you to send it to me. But basically what you're doing is taking this information, telling the class why it was interesting to you, and then telling us why you think it is real. And this is where we start to develop those critical thinking skills. We start to apply them, which is something that we'll do in our next class. When you do this, when you bring in your current events, what we'll think about is, where was this information published? Who did the publishing? Did they have any money involved? Are they going to benefit from this product? Let's say it's a product for a medication. Are they going to benefit from its being sold? What's the purpose of it? What kind of research was done? It's really important that you understand the research methods, because there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there. And I want to use this time, this current events time, and any other question that you have in class to help develop your abilities to separate fact from fiction. Okay, so that we can learn to separate those things and help you become conscious consumers. Because when you go out into the world, if you aren't already there, you will have lots of decisions to make about your health care. And I want to help prepare you to make the most beneficial, using your critical thinking skills to make the decisions that will be of most benefit to you. We have a project called To Your Good Health. In groups of 3 to 5, you will pick one of the subjects. You'll have a sign-up sheet, pick a topic, and kind of go into more depth in that topic. Again, we'll talk more about this, but there are certain things that I want you to do, like give me a couple of references that are going to help you get material for this presentation. I want to talk to you about it. I want you to come see me, well, visit this way, virtually, and discuss it. This is how you will be graded. Right? It should add up to 100. Exams, homework assignments, the To Your Good Health group presentation, poll questions, which we'll have throughout the semester based on discussions, readings, videos that you'll watch, class engagement, I'll go over in a second, and current events. And this is where I would say, any questions so far? But I can't. So class engagement, I'm not in the classroom with you. This is not the situation that I prefer having for this course or any course that I teach, but it's what we have, it's what we have to work with. And so engagement becomes really important. What I'm going to ask you to do is participate in discussion boards, but also I have 8 to 10 here. I may modify that because I will also include the Flipgrid that hopefully you've all made your videos by the time you see this, or something called Padlet. Weekly feedback, I'm going to ask you to keep journals to give me feedback to help me improve the course, but also to help me understand what's not getting across or what your interests are. And I could use that information every week because I've never taught a whole class online. So we're all kind of doing this together. And then other, showing me you're interested, participating in class, coming to office hours. It's 25% of your grade. Our exams, we have 2 exams. One's October 20th and one's during the finals period. Now, if you miss an exam, you will be given an oral makeup exam. We'll set up an appointment, we'll set up a time and we'll get together and I will ask you questions. The attendance policy, please come to class. It's kind of really important. If you miss it, get to know somebody in class so that you can get the information that you've missed. These are the learning objectives. This information is other important information that you get on most of your syllabi. And then this is a checklist that is not due January 21st. It's due a week from the first day of class. So that I think is September 1st. I'll make sure that this is corrected. But this tells me by signing this or typing your name in and dating it that you have read the syllabus and that if you have any questions, you will have asked them to me before you submit this. So that's my long syllabus. Now let's have a look at Blackboard. This is announcements. This was a short video I published a couple weeks ago. Hopefully you had a chance to look at it. Oh, look, I used Hogwarts then. Maybe I'll use it again. Under syllabus, this is the current events sign-up sheet. So it's a Google Doc and you can go in and pick 2 dates. So we'll start doing current events on September 8th. It's another copy of the syllabi. Here's some things to help you when you are researching topics. These are reputable sources, right? These are some examples of sources that I use for information. I want you to use for information. Please note that any reference, any source that you find that's on this list is not reputable. So be careful. Here are some sets from a previous class because you should have an idea what you're getting into. Course documents is kind of the meat of the class. Each topic that we cover has a folder. Infection and immunity, these will all be in order, but infection and immunity will be our second topic. So there's a video that I want you to watch, or we may watch in class. Topics for you to, articles for you to read, but I also publish the slides as well as a study guide for each topic. So you have those in each one of these folders. So for example, for our classes, the first two classes, we'll meet, we'll talk, we'll go over a couple of poll questions. I'll find out some things about you. And then for the second class, I want you to watch this video on credibility and scientific inquiry. It's also something I showed in my nutrition class. It's an introduction to developing critical thinking skills. And we'll have a class activity. Here are some more sources for when you are doing your research project or just to have for you. I have a podcast for you to listen to. This should probably be cocktail chatter. And I forgot to go over cocktail chatter in the syllabus. I listened to a podcast called the Slate Political Gabfest. And at the end of every Gabfest, they have cocktail chatter. That one piece of information that you want to share with your friends when you're having drinks. If you are over 21. Cocktail chatter is something that I find interesting, that I would like you to find interesting, but you do not have to study it. You don't have to read cocktail chatter. It's not going to be on the exam. So if we're going over something, rather than say, excuse me, is that going to be on the exam? I would like you to say, is that cocktail chatter? Because it sounds a lot better. So in this case, this article on PMS probably could be cocktail chatter, but I put it under listen because she actually uses the scientific method in helping people figure out whether or not eating meat makes premenstrual syndrome worse. Okay, and then actually under cocktail chatter are a lot of things because I think things are really interesting. Okay, so these are course documents. These are all the different topics we'll be covering during the semester. You probably already figured this out by now if you haven't had a Zoom class, but if you're watching this video, this will be the ID that you use to get into our class. Hopefully by now, you've made a Flipgrid. Then I have Padlets, which are kind of a toy. As you can see, I started playing with it, and I may ask you some questions. If you see this and you've already posted, I ask, what's your favorite quarantine food? Assignments to your good health is the assignment where you do the group presentation. Actually, I call it a group skit. This is the sign-up sheet. These are important dates, and I will be nudging you towards them, making sure that we stay up with them. September 10th, we're going to discuss this in class. This is sign-up date. I ask you to submit some ideas for me. So in other words, you're signing up for a general topic. I want to know what ideas you have in that specific topic. I want to talk to you about it. I want you to give me 3 to 4 references that you're using to put your information together. And I ask you to go back to the syllabus and to introductions to look at the information so that you know that your sources are legitimate. This is the last day that you'll talk to me about it, that I'll have for you to review the information you're going to present and how creatively you'll be presenting it, whether it's an interesting way of presenting a skit online. I've had people do some creative stuff in the spring, and I'm happy to share that with you. On the day of the presentation, you will send me 3 questions and 3 answers, objective questions that I can put on the exam. I'll post a document called colleague questions. I'll have 3 questions from each group, and I will pick one from each group, and it'll be on the final exam. These are instructions, and we'll go over this and the rubric on which I use to grade you, and a group evaluation. If you feel that you're all pulling your weight evenly, everybody gets the same grade. But if you feel that somebody is not doing their work, I need at least 2 evaluations giving me specific information about that person, and they will get a lower grade. That's these assignments. I'm sorry, that's this assignment. And then these are the assignments for each of the topics that we cover. The 2 that I said there are 2 that everybody does. So we have a family tree that I ask you to do for this topic, and we'll discuss it the second day that we're on this topic, as well as the body image. When we cover body image and eating disorders, there's a collage that you can submit it to me through Turnitin, but you'll also have a copy of it, and we'll use it for discussion. You'll get into breakout groups, and then we'll get into the classroom and we'll talk about it. And then you can pick any 2, right? Any of these others that might be of interest to you. And most of the time, there's something that I want you to read, and I ask you to write 1 to 2 pages on the information that you've learned in the assignment. Let's see, one of the ones that I really like, and down here with, for example, alcohol, there is a site that you click on different parts of the body and you find out how alcohol affects those parts of the body. And then I ask you to write about it. The only way you don't get full credit is if you use the word etc. And if you've read the syllabus before we talk about it in class, you'll know that that's one of my pet peeves. Well, that's pretty much it, because you aren't going to be handing it in with those little rabbit ears. And when I would make sure people had staplers or clips to make sure that they kept them together. Spelling is important, right? You should have the information, words correctly spelled, but I'm more interested in that you share with me what you've learned. Discussion boards that I have for reviewing for the midterm and the final are not part of your grade, but this is where you'll find them. When I do other discussion boards, the questions will be posted here, and I ask you to participate in some of them, and we'll flesh that out as the semester comes closer. Private journals. Everybody's going to have a color or a number assigned to them. I'm not sure yet. I think that this was being made when I'm learning how to use this tool. But again, the journals will be helpful for me to know how I'm doing and to know how you're doing. And it will also give you a chance to tell me what's confusing, what you liked, what you didn't like about the topic, what else you would like to learn. So I think that's about it for the syllabus. So I'll see you in class. Thanks.